All right, guys, Shock Therapy here, live feed for today. What we want to cover today is dealerships. Now, normally, you guys would be coming to us directly, which would be right through the showroom floor at the shop. And yes, we are working, so there's lots of noise, and everybody's answering the phone and doing what they're supposed to do. So sorry if we get a bunch of guys walking through. That's just what happens. But normally, if you come to us and you want to get parts or want to get something done on your car, that's great. But what if you're a shop and you want to become a dealership for us? We have plenty of them, lots, actually worldwide. And we want to let you know how and what the process is to do that and why we have dealers. So I'm going to grab Savino, who is in charge of dealer services. Savino, nice to meet you. Everybody's just now meeting you for the first time, but Savino is in charge of all of our dealer services. So if you guys want to get involved in that, you're going to be talking with him. So take it away, Savino.
Yes, well, so we have questions for dealers all the time from customers about dealers, asking how to become a dealer and what we need to do. We're actually setting up a map. As you can see, we've been setting up maps for our dealers, as well as trying to, we're going to make this shareable as well, so we can have customers reach out to dealers wherever they're at.
Okay, so Savino's nervous. I might have to take over and clean this up for a second. Take a deep breath.
All right.
You know, it's hard sometimes, but take a look at the map, you guys. What we've got, this is kind of a map of some of the dealers that we have in the United States. Now, we've got dealers worldwide, but let's just blow into California. Quite a few. So the reason that we have this map showing where our dealers are is this is going to be interactive in the future. So you can go to our website and you can pick out the closest dealership to you. If you don't feel confident pulling the shocks off of your car and sending them to us, you can take it to a dealer. They'll pull them off, send all the shock stuff to us. We'll do the full package. They'll get that back shipped to them, and they'll set up all your ride heights and go from there. But our dealer package and mapping will be interactive very soon. But let's see if you got your breath and you can talk about what it takes to become a dealer. So maybe let everybody know what the different packages are that we have.
So we have a buy-in package for dealers. They buy 10,000, get into our dealership, and then we have $7,500 per year to stay in with our dealership program, so we can do that per year, as well as a buy-in program, and you can start at percentages of 10% and go up from there. A lot of our customers ask us, do our dealers know what we're doing? Exactly, they do, because they come to some of our classes. We've had classes here at our shop for dealers. They come here, learn how we install our stuff over and over, and we have classes for them at different times of the year. The other,
I'm just gonna mess with you the whole time. It's fun. It's fun watching you.
I like it. But we will post my email address for dealers that want to become dealers, as well as anybody that has questions that is a dealer that we have right now. And
okay, I'll grab that. Hold on. I'll grab it because Mitch has got a question for us.
Okay.
What do you got?
Maybe just go in a little bit more depth of like, how do certain people become a dealer for what we do? Maybe getting the insights on how to fill out paperwork and stuff.
Okay, so the question is how does somebody become a dealer for us, specifically when it comes to paperwork and process? That is done through Savino. You're going to basically send an email request to us, and we're going to send you a dealer application. That application has a whole lot of stuff on it, not only your business license, but we're going to narrow down that process to the people that have retail store frontage and hopefully a service shop. That way, when you're dealing with a dealer of ours, they have the ability to put all the parts on that you might need and also help you through the process over a period of years afterwards. So we want to have the highest quality dealers that we can find, and we affect that by having dealer training. So multiple times a year we have our dealers come into the shop. We show them how to install spring kits and sway bars and all of our components so that they know how we do it and how we want it done and the things to look for. So if you're going to a dealer of ours, they're going to have the same training that we do. And when it's out of state, a lot of times that is super beneficial to someone that's in Florida or maybe even out of the country. So speaking of out of the country, We have dealers in Australia, New Zealand, Philippines, Russia, England, Germany, Congo, South Africa, you name it. We have dealers all over the world. We have plenty of dealers in the United States, obviously. Maybe you can take a walk around a little bit, Chase, while we're answering some questions. I think Mitch has got one already.
How about being a dealer in Canada?
So if you want to be a dealer in Canada, no problem. We've got a couple. We need to have more. I think we have 2 dealers in Canada, right?
Yes, and we're looking at our mapping, so we're not on top of each other, but yes, send me info, and I am getting those in Canada. We have many requests for those.
Okay, so basically we make sure that if somebody wants to be a dealer, that they're not sitting right on top of somebody else that already is a dealer within 10 miles or 20 miles of each other, so they don't, overlap and become a negative. So we do take that into consideration. But Canada would be great. Send your email to savino@shocktherapist.com, and you will get a dealer app sent back to you. More questions, Mitch?
That's it, man.
Well, Mitch, why don't you make up a question and we'll answer that.
I got an idea. How about the first person to get live with us and answer a question? We got some shirts, but you got to go live with us on Instagram.
All right,
And
so-
we need a question. I know I had some people asking earlier.
So Chase is behind the camera talking again. He's not supposed to, but I will repeat what he said, and that is that the first person that goes live with us right now gets T-shirt. Go live, have a question, we'll answer it, and you get something for free.
All right. Oh my goodness, we got our main boy, Chapo Racing.
Oh, hey Ernesto, how you doing, buddy?
I'm gonna hand this over to you, Justin.
All right. Ernesto, how's it going, buddy? I'm doing good, man. Looks like you got your hands full with a computer in the background. At least it doesn't have like Pornhub on it or something. Right on, man. What can we answer for you today?
A question I get asked a lot about shock therapy is, people that do a lot of mixed riding, they do dunes, they do trail riding, they do, desert running. Do you guys set up the shocks differently for people that do 70% dunes and 30% trail?
Yes, we do. So we take all of those inputs into consideration. So, for instance, if somebody is mostly desert and only, say, 25% dunes, dunes are going to be more spring rate and more compression in the system because of the G-outs. So we would tailor the car a little bit on the desert side of things, which would be more plush. And then turn the compression adjuster up, or at least talk to the customer about turning the compression adjuster up when they go the dunes a few times. If they're 75% dunes and 25% desert, we'll go the other way. So we'll set the car up with a little bit stiffer spring rate and compression package, and talk to them about turning the car way down on a compression setting when they're in the desert, and then keeping it in the middle basically for their dune setup. So we absolutely take that into consideration. It's probably the biggest thing that we fight, because that's super common for our area, right? We've got guys that do both. Luckily, the newest shocks from Fox have a much wider range in the compression adjuster than they used to, and I mean just over like 2 years ago. So all the way soft and all the way stiff is a wider range, so you can set it soft and do desert. You can set it stiff and have enough for the dunes, and that's just awesome for us. That way we don't have to change too much if you're doing both, but we definitely tailor it according to what you're running.
Gotcha. That wasn't really a dealer question. I don't know if that's what you were looking for specifically.
It's all right, man. We just want questions, period. What else you got?
Another question is, if somebody brings a car to a dealer that's a shock therapy dealer, are they going to be paying more than going direct to you guys?
Great question. Absolutely not. We protect our dealers and our pricing. Our dealers are not allowed to charge more, and they're not allowed to charge less. When it comes to labor, that is something that the dealer can affect or change according to what they're doing for that customer, and they have the leeway to do that. But when it comes to product, you're going to spend exactly the same amount of money with a dealer as you are with us.
Great. That's a question I get asked a lot, so that's probably a good one to bring up.
Awesome, man. Thank you very much for popping out some questions. I appreciate it.
No problem. Anytime.
Hey, get that car prepped so we can go back racing.
All right. Sounds good.
All right, see ya.
All right, Ernesto. Hey, don't you forget, I need your shirt size. All righty.
I got Ernesto's shirt size.
All right, we got a couple more people who tried to tune in to go live. I got King Los 19. I'm going to add him in. We'll do one more, and then we'll cap it off for the day.
What's happening, man?
Hey, bud, how you doing?
Doing really good. Have you got a question we can answer today?
Yeah, what do you think of Robbie Gordon's new UTV that's coming out in November? I think he's saying.
Yep. We get that question a lot, especially the last couple of weeks since he's been doing live feeds and telling everybody about the details of his car. As a matter of fact, he and I were on the phone yesterday for about 30 minutes talking about some of the details on his car and what the plans are for it. If every single thing that Robbie is talking about ends up on that car in production, because sometimes production can affect some of the choices, that's going to be the best car ever made. And I'm not just saying that because he and I are friends. I'm saying that because literally the ideas that are in that car, you might as well just consider it's not even a UTV anymore. I think it's more like a Class 10 race car shrunk down with four-wheel drive. So I love where he's going with it. Hopefully that's exactly what it is that you're seeing. And if it is, then that's going to be a really good car to get. Awesome, man. Make sure that you give us your information. We'll send you a shirt.
All right, brother. Have a good day.
All right, well, back to dealer stuff. I know dealers can be a little bit boring, you guys, and if you have more questions, then shoot. Mitch, you got anything?
I got one from Timbo Slice. Asks, does the IQS system work with your Gold Tune, or does it replace it?
The IQS system works on top of any tune, our tune, somebody else's tune, bone stock tune. It doesn't necessarily care what's inside the shock. It is adjusting the adjuster on the fly on a switch. So if you have a really crappy riding system, it will adjust it up and down. If you have a really good riding car and tuned suspension, it will adjust it softer and stiffer on the fly. So IQS will work on any tune.
I got one from Chaser UAE. Which UTV is the most balanced, weight distribution, and handling?
That's a huge question. Which UTV is the most balanced, best handling, and I think there was something else in that question too, right? Weight distribution. So I think the Honda is the best weight distribution. It's almost exactly 50-50 front to back. It's not the best handling. I think that the Polarises are about a 66% rear weight bias, being heavy in the rear, and the same goes for the Can-Ams, at least for our race cars and pre-runners. That's where they sit. It doesn't seem to affect the handling, though. Both of those cars are going to turn way better than any of the Honda stuff. I think if you just narrow it down to what works the best and handles the best, then if you're short course racing on a dirt track, then a Yamaha is probably the best, but it's not going to go through the rough. If you're talking about a car that can turn and hit rough whoops, then in my opinion right now it's going to be a X3 or a XP Pro. Just depends on how you drive.
Got one from SilgTO602. I might have butchered that. I'm sorry. He asked, do you have an option for the front sway bar to be attached to a boxed front A-arm? I guess you kind of got to be more specific on what arm and what car.
Yeah, so the question is, do our front sway bar options bolt to a boxed A-arm? It just depends on the tabbing that's on the boxed A-arm. If the boxed A-arm uses a factory location for a front sway bar link, then all of our stuff will bolt right to it since it's designed to work for the stock systems. If you have a boxed A-arm with no tabs, then you're going to have to weld tabs to it, and we do have different length sway bar links that could be shorter or longer to allow that to happen. Obviously, we've seen that done quite a few times, and there's a lot of ways to do it. It just might take custom fabrication.
Got a question for Savino.
Savino question. All right, here you go.
Yes.
ISSAC8220. How many dealers do we have in Oregon?
In Oregon, well, I'd have to look up in Oregon, but right off the top of my head, I believe I've seen 15 to 20 dealers in Oregon, but they are quite spread out.
Let's pull up your map. I want to see exact count.
But anytime, email me at savino@shocktherapist.com, and I can get you the map of your area as well. And existing dealers as well as new dealers, email me, and I can get you some information on that.
What other questions have we got?
So
What other questions do we have, Mitch?
DW Wright 412 is RIS spring kit and sway bar all that's needed to keep an 18 XP4T Walker edition from being sensitive to rollovers?
So the question is XP Turbo 18, right? Is that? Does the internal shockwork spring and sway bar, is that all that's required to keep it from being sensitive to rollovers? Yeah, actually it's just the sway bar. If you do the sway bar only, it'll stop all the body roll that you're concerned about. The shock internals and spring are going to make it ride better through the rough stuff. It's not going to make it any better or worse in the rollover category. The sway bar controls that.
This is actually a really good one here too from Quad Racer 259. Is your ride height recommendations based on stock height tires? Should your ride height numbers be increased as tire size is also increased?
So the question is, our ride height numbers that we list in our instructions are based on stock tire height? Yes, all of our ride heights are based on stock tire height. If you run a tire that's taller, you're going to raise that ride height number that we set the car up at 1 inch per every 2 inches of tire. So if you have a 30-inch tire and we are telling you to use 14-inch ground clearance numbers and you change it to a 32, then that 14-inch is going to go up by 1 inch to 15 inches. So yes, we do modify the ride heights according to tire height. Any other good questions?
Yeah, Champ 10 G-Well, better desert trail suspension, the Pro XP Fox live valve stock or the Pro XP Walker Evans with shock therapy, IRS, springs, and sway?
Wow, you know what? Hey, Mitch, come up here and you tell it. I'm going to hand this over to Mitch, and the reason is that Mitch was just testing both of these cars yesterday.
Yeah.
So I think that he might be the best one to tell you that opinion. That's a very tough one because you're talking about a worked car versus a bone stock car. Yeah. So tell the truth.
Honestly, the Fox car outperforms the Walker one in my opinion. But I mean, even when you do the Walker one and you set it up with valving springs, you fix a lot of the issues that that car has anyway. So I don't even really think I can answer that one. That's a tricky one, man.
I'm going to make you answer it though. Which one is better right now if you had to choose one or the other, a worked Walker or a stock Dynamics XP Pro?
Worked Walker.
There you go. So worked Walker rides better. I will tell you this. I'm going to put something else in there. Hi, Steve. I'm going to put something else in there. That Dynamics, once you touch it, I mean, barely breathe on it from shock work, it's going to smoke that that XP Pro with Walkers.
I agree.
Any other questions there, Mitch?
Let's see here. Kevin Z. Arquan, what does your tune for a stock Can-Am turbo entail? What do you guys do, and will it perform better out in the desert?
So the question is, what does our tune entail for a Can-Am XP or X3, I assume? So typically we're going to do shock internals. I know you're over here on the background, but typically we're going to do shock internals. We're going to do spring kit, and we're going to do bypass tubes. The difference is drastic. It's night and day. We play mostly in the desert, and so knowing how that works, I'll tell you, it's probably 80% better than it is stock. It's going to be like learning to drive another car from a speed standpoint. You're going to go a lot faster, a lot smoother, and not feel any of the rough stuff.
How about your recommendations on front-end gusset kits from anybody out there?
So recommendations on front-end gusset kits for X3s. Again, we've said this a few times, but TMW, S3, Geyser. I think those are the three right now for bulkhead kits that we would recommend. We see them all, and they all work well.
B_Price_X3, 2018 Can-Am XRS 2-seater with the gold package. How can he stop the bucking in the rear and in the whoops in Glamis?
So stopping the bucking, typically we want to have you check. Hang on 1 second, man. I'm going to get right to you, okay? All right, so typically bucking, if you've got ride height issues, if the car sits low in the rear, then that would be an issue. So double check your ride heights first on the car. Second, if the compression is set too stiff, it can buck. If the compression in the rear is set too soft, it can bottom out in a whoop and buck because it's all the way. Take it easy, because it's all the way bottomed out. So play with the adjusters. Go stiffer, go softer, see which one works better, okay? All right. What's your name?
Hey, how's it going?
Going.
My name is Ephraim.
Ephraim, it's going great, man. What question can we answer for you?
All right, so I have a 2019 Can-Am X3, the Max. I want to order your guys' set of springs. My my thing is, I have, you know, how it has the questions, full roof, front bumper, you know, spare tire. If I keep adding extras on the car, do we need to readjust anything, any measurements on those springs when we do the setup, or it stays basically the same?
Okay, so when we get you the spring kit, we're going to take all of those accessories into consideration. So the spring kit you get is going to be tuned for your list of accessories you give us. If you add things in the future, then you can add preload to that spring package, and you can raise the car up as the car gets heavier. Usually, our spring package is going to be good until you put about 200 pounds of weight on the thing, and then at that point, we're going to probably change the spring rate again. So try and give us the list of things you think you're going to do, maybe that you're going to do in the future, and we'll get you a spring kit that'll cover all of that, even into the future without you having to buy springs.
Sounds great.
Awesome, man. Awesome, man. Give us all your T-shirt sizes, okay? And we'll send you a shirt.
All right. Great job, guys.
Thanks, man. Take it easy. And any other good questions? If not, let's wrap it.
Let's do 2 more here.
All right, 2 more questions.
Raptor Killer 89. I got a Turbo S stock suspension. What do you recommend for desert racing?
Turbo S. So I would do internal mods and spring kit. The internal mods are going to be both valving and also bypass tube mods, as long as it's obviously a Turbo S with Foxes. But for racing applications, we're going to want to have everything on that car done. So race ready to enter, including fuel, spare tires, tools, all of those weights, so we can get the spring package perfect. And we are going to set the internals up on that shock a little bit stiffer than normal because you're racing and you need it. Last question.
Yep, Dylan Wetzler. What's the turnaround time for internals and springs on a Pro XP4 Dynamics?
Okay, so turnaround time is always same day for us, but we do it via appointment. That means that you call us, set up an appointment with someone like Mike right here on the phone. He's going to give you a specific day. We're about 2 weeks out on our scheduled appointments right now. 2 weeks out on our appointments means that if you have, say, Wednesday next week or Wednesday 2 weeks from now is your scheduled day, drop it off in the morning, you will pick it up that afternoon every time. What else you got? We're all good on questions, right? All right, well, let's wrap this up, and here's how we're going to do it. I'm going to bring Captain Nervous in here again. So we're going to have to get Savino to be more relaxed on camera from now on so he can do these and I don't have to do them.
That'll work.
So thank you guys for tuning in and asking questions. Really appreciate it. Give us more advice as far as subjects to cover. And just so you guys know, we are going to do a race team edition. We're also going to do some others that you guys have suggested. We're also going to do a tour of the CNC shop next week. So keep the suggestions coming. Appreciate you tuning in. For questions on product, call 623-217-4959. For dealership questions, contact Savino at savino@shocktherapist.com, and he will get back to you without being nervous, I promise. And if you have any other questions about product, go to shocktherapist.com. Thank you, guys.